to critique President John F. Kennedy's Man Will Be on the Moon speech. Developing and delivering a well-prepared oral presentation definitely takes time and practice. Being able to recognize the elements of the communication process can ensure that the message will always be reached to your audience. And I think President Kennedy portrayed that very well. He starts his speech by acknowledging the VIPs that are in attendance. He directly gets into the topic of discussion by talking about how technology has changed and how it continues to grow rapidly. President Kennedy targeted his listeners by trying to sell them with what he had to offer. He explains that all the benefits that they have already come from the changes the country has made, and then lets them know that we would be going to the moon. President Kennedy effectively uses the dynamic process in his speech. He sends the message effectively using his connection with the people. I read that he's very... people can be enlarged and enhanced by communication that informs them and makes them wiser, and it also touches their humanity. He captures the audience with common interests and goals, which helps them realize what they could accomplish together, and they meaning the nation. The first interference I noticed during his speech was his accent. This could be taken in a positive or a negative way. If you're from the area, it could be a positive thing. In this instance, it didn't seem to affect the impact of his speech, but it could potentially be a distraction for some listeners. Another interference was how often he looked down at the paper for guidance. Providing more eye contact throughout the crowd, I believe, would have improved this speech a little bit, although I believe it was a great speech. The setting for the speech was at Rice University, which is in Houston, Texas, and it what seemed to be a rivalry game since he mentioned the opposing team. He effectively used recent or upcoming events to appeal to his audience. The physical setting was open and it was outdoors. His audience was majority from Texas since that's where it was held, although he was speaking to the entire nation as a whole. Since this was a formal speech, the only feedback given was a few moments of applause. The crowd seemed to show interest and support through the entire speech, which proves he effectively got his message across. Watching President Kennedy present his speech has really made me look closely at the fundamentals and detail that go along with preparing an effective speech. Although he made it seem easy, I'm sure it took years of practice to be able to perform that well. That's all I have for my critique on President John F. Kennedy's speech, Man Will Be on the Moon. Thank you.